Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Nexus Podcast. Today we are joined by one of the three directors of Outer Banks Season 3, Gonzalo Amat. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Gonzalo.
No, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
No worries, I appreciate it. So Season 3 of Outer Banks is here, and before we go to talk about your job as a director this season, I want to speak about your work as a cinematographer and being the director of cinematography on the show before you became a director this season. What motivated you to get into the camera and electrical industry in the first place?
So I guess that all the way back to when I was in film school, I actually studied in London Film School.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And it was mostly a study school for directors. So, it was kind of hard to get your film made. So I ended up deciding to, I want to shoot it because they're also shooting a film back then. So that's how I got into kind of the camera area, and then I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So after that, I just ended up kind of concentrating on that.
Were there any films in specific that acted as a sort of catalyst to dragging you into where you are now?
Yeah, I think, probably Blade Runner's one of the films that got me into cinematography.
Yeah.
And then Seven, it's another one that got me wanting to, I want to do that. I want to do something that feels like that it drags you into the story so much.
Yeah, for sure.
And now, so and they were both very, just visually very, very interesting. So I thought use those as references, for that.
Going into your work in specific now, you have a variety of projects on your resume as a cinematographer. Was there one specific show or film that stood out for you and was one that propelled you even further as you worked on it?
Yeah, I would say probably The Man in the High Castles. For me, there's a before and after that, because that was such an amazing show to work in with, just with being having my name attached to Ridley Scott, and just the team was amazing. The content was really very relevant. It was very visual, and we just making the world, like creating this world.
For sure.
I think that's before and after that's probably one of holds a special place for me,
100%. Going into Outer Banks now, you've been in the show for 3 seasons as the director of cinematography. What attracted you to that show in specific, and what made you want to work on Outer Banks?
Yeah, so basically I know Jonas Spade from back in the day.
Nice.
I did my first TV project in the US, which was a show called Belief. So we met then, and we really connected. He's just a really great person.
Yeah,
and then he just has a great vision. So we worked on Belief. So he called me afterwards to shoot Outer Banks, but I wasn't available. So he called me, if you want to come do the season. When it goes to season, let me know. So we ended up connecting. And first season I came and did a couple of episodes, and then season 2 I did almost everything. And then season 3 I did like 3 episodes, and then ended up directing one. But the show was really appealing. Jonas is a really good person. He's incredibly loyal to the people he works with, and he's just he's a very special man. Like, he really understands filmmaking. Like, he really I think he also propelled me to directing too, because the way he works is so inspiring. And I'm like, I really want to learn from the best.
Can you give us a quick insight to the daily routine of a cinematographer? What do you guys need to do to set up after each scene you film, and what are the processes that go into all of this?
Yeah, every show is a little different, but there's everyone also says there's 3 things you need to do. You need to you read the scene and you block the scene, so basically you know where the actors are going to be standing, and then you light the scene, and then you shoot it. Those are the 3 things are the most important. But that's on the day of shooting. Before that, you do have to go to look at all the locations. You choose the locations based on what you want to tell the story, but also what's logistically possible, because great location can be beautiful, but if you can't light it because it's on the 60th floor of a building, then you can't, so you have to there's all these things that you have to put together to make to choose a location, to be able to make and I would say on the day-to-day, it's just a lot of communication with the director, and a lot of communication with every department, and when it comes to what you want to achieve from each scene. Make sure on the day you're prepared to do it, and also you're prepared to do it as efficiently as possible, because time on set really, in my opinion, belongs to the actors and the director.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to be ready as quick as possible so they can do the thing.
Yeah, it sounds like quite the process, actually. Now going into your work as a director. You directed an episode this season of Outer Banks, so congratulations for that. How did it feel to go from the head of cinematography on the show to now being the director, where you have more autonomy of the project? The director is a big role; it's a big deal. Did you feel any pressure as you stepped up, and what was your overall feeling when you got to go through this transition into a director?
It was a really good experience. Like the same thing with Jonas being so
Yeah,
confident that I was able to, because he likes what I do, and so he basically let me just take it and run. He
yeah,
did not micromanage anything. We spoke a little bit about the story here and there. He would show up to set here and there, but he just let me do whatever, because he knew I know the show very well. I know the actors very
sure,
well.
yeah,
I know what he likes visually. So
yeah,
I just making sure that those things are like that. In terms of pressure, I didn't really feel too much pressure because I know everyone so well in that show.
yeah. It makes a difference. Yeah,
Yes, and then for me, just a question of empowering, like because all the people I know are there. Like for me, when I was directing, then who was shooting for me,
yeah,
um, he knows the show very well. So for me, it was like, okay, this is what I want to block. So how would you shoot it? So we collaborate, and then he knows that I know the show. So it's just a constant collaboration with everyone. And then with the actors too, they know me very well from shooting of 3 seasons. So we just talk about story and what we want to achieve and how we can make it the coolest way possible. And then how to also make it with good management of the time and the crew and everything.
yeah.
So it was just really an amazing experience. Probably the best
Yeah,
in
I
my
can imagine. Yeah.
direct.
The episode you directed, episode 7, for me, it was essentially the turning point for the whole season. It was filled with lots of details. So I have to congratulate you on that again. And I think it was one of my favorite episodes, honestly. And you've obviously seen the works of Jonas Pate and Valerie Weiss in previous episodes. So did they give you any inspiration when you went to work, or did you use your own inspiration when you were
I mean,
directing?
Jonas, since I've shot, I don't know how many episodes for Jonas in the past.
Yeah.
I know what inspires him, and I
Mm,
know I used a lot of what he does, and I
for
use
sure.
very similar methods on set just to be able to keep the same vibe on set. And then
100%.
Valerie actually shot a few episodes for Valerie. I shot the season 2. Season 1, I shot 2 episodes, and season 2, I shot another episode. So I know Valerie very well, and I took some of
Yeah.
the things she did. And then we had a little overlap on our episodes because she shoots the party and I shoot the aftermath of the party.
Nice. Yeah.
So we had a
Yeah.
nice when she went to shoot that scene, I was there, and I told her,
Yeah.
"Hey, can we collaborate? How do we place them? I want her to wake up and see the beach. Can we place her here?" And then she's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to place them here so they're away from this." So we collaborate on that, and it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with
Amazing.
Jonas too. Everything we always show Jonas when it comes to what we're thinking, so he knows what place it takes in the bigger picture. So there's just a lot of collaboration with other directors too.
Amazing. Yeah.
So there's really no ego, and the best idea will win.
Going into a bit about the scenes in general now, was there any specific scene that you enjoyed directing or just enjoyed the result of throughout episode 7 in which you directed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
moments. There's really just a lot of good moments. I don't know. I would probably have to say I really liked all the stuff we did with Chase and Rudy, because it felt
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I know that there was an idea of trying to get back some of that first season vibe from their
Yeah.
interaction, a little more like the Sundance, sort of that vibe of those two
Yeah.
guys just together, and then just getting that light comedy at the same time with high stakes.
Yeah.
So those, and I shot their whole arc was really fun, and during that
Yeah.
episode with all the action stuff that we really shot a lot. So those probably, I think, even though all the emotional stuff is great too. I
Yeah.
don't know, because it was nice to see them play so well, and then seeing also
Yeah.
the audience respond to that kind of going back to basics for the first season.
Yeah. And it makes sense because the Pogues were separated mostly this season. So I felt this episode, just getting Rudy and Chase back together, felt nice to see for us viewers as well. For you, Gonzalo, who was your favorite person to work with as a director this season?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I really, everyone, all of them. I was just thinking before this interview, there's really, I don't know. I mean, I have a special care. I really love sort of the other personalities because they're so different. But
Yeah.
at the same time, such good people, all of them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I do have a weakness in this episode for the scene I did, which kind of relates to the last question you did about the favorite scene
Yeah.
with with Drew and Chip, like that scene with the
Yeah.
father-son scene, what he basically reveals and he says, "I'm not gonna, I don't need you anymore." That
Oh
scene,
yes, yeah, yeah.
that was probably the best scene I've shot in my directing career, and it was
Yeah,
so
it's
powerful. And those
very
guys,
intense. Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, those guys were amazing.
Mm.
So I do have a kind of a weakness on this episode for them, but I love all of them. That all the main characters, all of them. Like,
Yeah,
and then also some of the characters that are not that present in the show, like someone like Barry. Barry's
yeah,
amazing. Every time he
yeah.
comes,
I love him. I love him as a
he's
character.
such a good actor too.
Yeah,
Good things with him and Rafe too. So I don't know. And then Chase is so humble, and then
mm.
Maddie is he's just so like focused and very intuitive. Pope is just so keen, and Kiara is so intense and so passionate about things. And then Rudy is just such a rock star. So each one of them
Yeah.
has their own soul,
Unique personality. Yeah,
It is, and it's really kind of a lesson how to work with different
sure.
personalities.
Yeah,
They're also open.
yeah, yeah. I can
And people
imagine.
always ask me, are they fun? Are they fun to work with? I'm like, they are just
Yeah,
incredible to work with.
100%. I can
Yeah.
imagine. And now this might be a difficult question, but what role did you enjoy more in Outer Banks? Being the head of cinematography or being one of the directors of this season?
I think one led to the other, but I do think directing I enjoyed more. I was able to relax a little
Mhm.
because it's a pretty intense show. Like you have to
Yeah,
be shooting. We shot everything like magic hour, like 4, 5,
yeah.
6
You have to
p.m.
get everything on point. I can imagine.
So you can't really shoot anything between like 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. when the sun's not good,
Oh
when the
yeah.
light's not good, unless you have interiors. But a lot of times we don't have enough interiors. Everything is
Oh,
sunset. So
oh wow, yeah,
you have a 50-page script with everything is sunset. So you really have to pick where you shoot
yeah.
the sunsets. So it's as a
It's
DP,
tough.
it's
It
very
sounds like a
difficult.
tough job.
And then we shoot 3 cameras, a lot of available light. You turn around, you just run and gun. So you
Yeah,
can't really light it as properly. Even the interiors are lit for outside, and the exterior nights are all lit, sort of area lighting. So it is a very, very complex show to
yeah,
shoot.
hundred
So I would
percent.
say I end up enjoying more the directing, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 4 has already been confirmed. Can you see yourself returning to the director spot next season?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. I
Yeah,
mean, I've spoken to Jones a little bit about it, and it seems it might happen. But it's I would love to, because it's one of the things that I love about filmmaking, about my job, is doing
yeah,
a new project with the same people you work before.
yeah,
It's such a
100%.
sense of family, and you go back, and everyone, you leave your friendship where you left off, and
Yeah,
you
it's that
pick up
vibe,
there,
the
and
whole
then you
vibe of
just
it. Yeah,
develop, and everyone's growing a little bit. Like the actors have been around, so they have their own lives, and they're all doing other.
yeah,
The crew has been doing other things, so everyone's sort of growing and kind of getting better at the game. Fun to see people grow, especially the actors who are just growing and becoming stars, So
yeah,
it's very
100%.
inspiring.
All from me. Thank you so much for this, Gonzalo. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. My pleasure.